Hello, hackers. Welcome on in to today's stream. I'm excited to be back with more resume fun stuff. Let me get a couple things going right as we jump in and get started. First and foremost, for those of us who are coming in not from the Discord and maybe from Twitch notifications, our check-in link is going to be found right on here. So I'm going to go ahead and show this off right on the screen. So right down here, you can see the lovely check-in link that has all of the information that you need in order to get checked into the event, right? So that, remember, our check-in is to earn all of those awesome points for swag. And then I also saw another question, I'm pretty sure. About submitting challenges. And it was out in the Discord, but for those of you who are looking to participate in challenges, challenge submissions, you can just go ahead and submit them right on here. globalhackweekcareer.devpost.com. Apologies in advance for the noise right outside. I am hearing, I think someone is mowing the lawn right outside or otherwise cleaning or doing something. I might have to try and add in a headset or something, but generally for now, we'll see now. All right, now is also a good time to bring back the music. We're gonna go for this one. Yeah, we're going for this one. We're gonna keep it kind of at a pretty quiet pace for the music, or at a quiet tone for the music today, just so it does not disturb us. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in here. So, hi. I'm Kari. I'm your MLH coach for today for this stream. And so I have made a lovely resource on last stream about resumes. So if we go to the lovely link, so that's going to be on here. This is our resume template link from last time. So in last stream, we talked a little bit about what we need to include over in a good resume. So that was everything from looking for my, that's right in here. So yeah, for those of you who are interested, I also wrote out, and we finished up at the end of part 1, an awesome little document for leveling up your resume. And that's actually chock full of lots of different information from that stream. Everything that we talked about, from how to write your resume, resumes versus CVs, STAR methods, summarizing information, examples and practices, and then finding specific resume screens and resume platforms for that. And we spent that last little bit of time working on this lovely resume template rig. I'm going to need a second to put on noise canceling headphones because I cannot hear myself over the loud lawnmower outside. So we are going to be right back. Hopefully it'll be super quick, but let me just type in here. Be back soon. All right, let's do a quick check. Can everybody hear me? We've got some highs in the chat. Howdy, sound check. How's the quality? How are we sounding? How are we feeling then? We got a big headset on, blocking out all the noise from the outside. That's the goal. It's not clear. Okay. It's a little hard to hear. We're going to mess around a bit for a little bit longer then. Give me a second. Let's try that again. How about now? Can you hear me? How's this sounding? Sorry for the delay here. I was not expecting them to start mowing right at 1 p.m. But it happens, so no worries that way. A bit better. Okay, we'll take it. I mean, usually I like using the, but not clear. Oh. I wonder if it might just be easier to use the built-in microphone. How's this? But I use the headphones to block out sound. Yeah. It's better. I can understand. The best one. Perfect. We're going to stick with that. All right. In that case, past the technical difficulties, thank y'all for bearing. Here's the way that we're going to run this. I want to take some time to walk through leveling up your resume on the digital side of things. So for our general agenda, I had it written down somewhere. There we go, found it. But for our general agenda, I had a pen and something written down here. Perfect, we got it. Beautiful. So for our general agenda for today, I am thinking we first and foremost focus on digitizing our resume. Right? So digitizing our resume, and then we can focus also on GitHub as a resume. And then last but certainly not least, we could focus on personal portfolios. Which I think will give me a chance to call out some cool personal portfolio streams that we have coming up later on in the day. So, as always, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them in the chat. In the meantime, I am going to transition over to LinkedIn. All right, so for starting off today's stream, I thought we would go straight to the source, and that is on lovely LinkedIn, talking about LinkedIn profile summaries, as well as general tools and resources for getting started. So for anyone who is curious, LinkedIn, LinkedIn runs a lovely talent blog, if it'll load for me. Perfect. That talks you through how to best hire and develop talent, but it is super, super helpful also for individuals. If you think about it this way, this is the type of resource that recruiters are reading before they get started. You can't see my screen. Well, anyway, so this is the LinkedIn talent blog, right? So as we look at recruiting, right, we have, these are recruiting tips for recruiters, right? But candidate experience, employee referrals, hiring managers, hiring Gen Z, industry job descriptions, right? Quality of hire, skill-based hiring, weekly digest. But generally, right, walking through about different career developments, right, and different tools that you can go ahead and write out. But for example, right, listing out skills on your LinkedIn profiles, right, skills-based approach to talent acquisitions, specific skills that are the most common, the most in-demand skills that show up in specific job postings, right? Communication, customer service, leadership, project management, analytics, teamwork, sales, problem solving, and research. And then also being very specific with those skills, as well as listing hard skills that define what you can do. And then looking through signature soft skills as well. It walks you through how to identify your own soft skills, right? So resources like this one, right? For assessment tools that help you hire the best candidate quickly. Hello, hello. Right? These are kind of the tools that people are advertising to recruiters, which is, I think, especially helpful to consider. But yeah, skills that you shouldn't list on your LinkedIn profile, skills that you don't have or haven't mastered, and skills that aren't relevant. You may have been an all-state oboe player in high school or worked your way through college as a magician, but it's not likely those skills are essential to the roles that you're hoping to land in marketing or finance. Stick to relevant skills. You don't need to list professional skills that don't pertain to the kinds of roles that you're working in or applying to. So if you're a curriculum development specialist who came to their work after a stint as a registered nurse, you don't need to list your abilities to do medication management or CPR. I think especially as we consider younger students, except I'm sharing the wrong tab again, especially we consider ourselves as students, right? Things that might have been relevant a few years ago are not going to be relevant anymore. And that's a good thing, right? Because we're learning and growing and constantly changing things. Sorry, I'm enjoying my coffee. But it is super helpful. And then this is actually walking you through how to add those specific skill profiles. And then how to showcase your skills specifically by linking case studies, blog posts, ebooks, white papers, webinars, workshops, classes, presentations, lectures, and speeches, as well as adding in specific endorsements, certifications, or valid assessments that you have done. I am seeing a quick question in the chat. You want to go ahead and type that out. And then finally, as our main recommendation is keeping those skills up to date, which I think is super helpful. I'm going to wait from this question out in the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to go through and open up my LinkedIn profile and showcase my skills. All right. I have a LinkedIn. I keep updating it early, but the thing is how can a recruiter will see my LinkedIn because I can't let all of my learning and skill and resume go into ATS. So how can a recruiter get my LinkedIn profile? I mean, how recruiters each have my LinkedIn profiles? What are things I should do using my LinkedIn to showcase my learnings and get the attention of recruiters? I think that's a really great question. One of the best things you can do is to go ahead and click on, I'm going to go ahead and showcase part of my profile here. So I'll share my screen super quickly and you'll be able to see the part that I'm looking at. But if you click this open to button right down here, right, where this is my LinkedIn profile, I'm trying to keep out like personally identifying information of my peers off of here. But if you click here, right, I'm zoomed into my part of the profile. I click on open to, and I click on finding a new job, providing services, or finding volunteer opportunities, right? If I click on open to finding a new job, a banner is going to show up around my face that is going to say something along the lines of open to work. And that's immediately a great first way to get people talking about your, like, to get your profile into the appropriate pipelines, especially when it's recruiting that's being done through LinkedIn. It is super, super helpful. The other thing that is really helpful for actually working on different events is this activity tab. So if I go ahead and share my screen again, I'll show you off this part as well, right? So when I go ahead and showcase this, right, you see this create a post section. This allows for me to talk about pretty much anything and then add in images, media, events, occasions, emojis, right? High rank polls, documents, or general experts. Ooh, excuse me. And also allows me to schedule those for later, right? So being able to talk about anything like this, I think in particular is super helpful just because of how easy it is for us to, that's one of the greatest ways to like advertise your skills or advertise what you've been up to, especially when it's not something that you would like necessarily add to your like full resume. A lot of times I'll see, people mention whenever they attend specific hackathons or win prizes or do certain things at events, they will mention those events as LinkedIn posts, right? And that also helps showcase to recruiters that you're active and engaged in doing stuff in the community. And it might, show up on their feed somewhere, and that might also be an engaging way, especially if they're set to look for people in your age range, people in your area, right? Especially when we're considering like college students, like people in your graduation date is what I mean by age range here. I think that one is honestly really particularly helpful. So I think that's a really nice one, inclusion there. And then when it comes to writing out these blurbs, right, I am going to go ahead and showcase my lovely MLH blurb in here. Oh my goodness. Perfect. So this is my lovely little MLH blur, right, where it talks a little bit about Major League Hacking as a contract, right, mentored students and organizers at 25 plus hackathons in the US, Canada, and virtually, evangelized sponsored technical products such as GitHub and MongoDB, reaching over 10,000 community members, wrote and hosted 10 plus multi-part series and additional standalone technical workshops, live. Aha! See? So immediately, right, already I found a quick typo, and what we can do in here, right, is just go in here, go ahead and edit it, right, and immediately walk through, right? And hosted 10 plus multi-power series and additional standalone technical workshops to live international audiences on the Major League Hockey and Twitch, right? And then also I added in specific skills into here based on what I was working on, right? So curriculum development, developer relations, tech evangelism, CS education, mobile application development, and Guild. So that is another great way for us to go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here real quick. Then we have, how did you get your first job? What did you do to get your first job after graduation? I got my first job through a referral. So I had someone that worked at the company or someone that had gotten really far up in the interview process who realized that the specific posting wasn't a good fit, but they had worked with me professionally and they decided to refer me. And it turns out that it was a great fit for me professionally to get to join them. Outside of that, it was a lot of applying on different websites, using my university resources as well, and asking for specific help, and asking for specific postings that were relevant. I also highly recommend attending different conferences and lots of different events to actually focus on those metrics and focus on those convictions. We have another really good question. If I ask for a referral for you, where can you refer me? Right now, unless you are looking to teach at a high school in Nashville, nowhere. I am occasionally referring people to the MLH Coaches Program, but I've mostly been doing that for hackathon organizers that I get to interact with on a face-to-face basis. But it kind of depends, honestly, on previous metrics. And different people also have different insights on doing that. Can you tell us if including the hobbies and interests sections in the resume is no longer a good idea? I love the hobbies and interests section in the resume. I cut mine out due to space. I had to ask myself whether it was more valuable to put in another project that I was super passionate about or whether to keep my hobbies and interests section. And I decided that the project that I had told people more about me than a hobbies and interests section. You can tell based on reading my resume some of the things that I'm passionate about, especially relevant to my career, my job. You can tell I'm passionate about introducing new beginners to computer science, right? You can tell that I'm passionate about technology education. You can tell that I'm passionate about mobile apps. You can tell that I'm passionate about different technologies, right? And evangelism, developer relations. Those all are things that I am passionate about. That is 100% unequivocally true. I think sometimes it is helpful to add in a hobbies and interests section in a resume if you have an interest that you feel like is particularly eye-catching. I know for a fact I had a person that I mentored who was very, very into fly fishing and had included it on their resume and ended up getting an interview because they talked about the fishing software that I had used made by a specific company. Things like that happen, it is truly magical. Getting to do lots of fun stuff within the company, I think is great. I would recommend keeping it if you've got the room for it. And then I think that is particularly helpful. What is the best way to reach out to recruiters after I apply for a job? Is just reaching out on LinkedIn enough? So I have different opinions on this than some people, and take my advice and my information with a grain of salt. I hate receiving cold emails. So I hate sending cold emails because I think about each one of the times that I get a cold email that is not personalized, that doesn't like really understand a lot of what I do, a lot of like what I'm interested in, or like is just asking for a referral or asking for something. I don't like responding to those. I hate sending them too. I found that the time that it takes to make something super personalized is not worth it, considering the slim chance that you get a response. And sending something for the sake of sending something, I really do not appreciate. Like, I do not really like. So do with that information what you will. I would say until you have an email that you are supposed to reach out to with questions, I personally don't recommend reaching out. You can either reach out before to see if there are like specific steps to recruiting, which I would only really do if I knew somebody or had like permission to reach out. Or once you know have been put in contact with a recruiter, it is totally fair game to reach out to a recruiter a year after and say, hey, I applied to your company last year. I got all the way to X interview. I wanted to let you know I'm still interested in positions here. What are like some next steps? I did that and it was very successful. There are a few people who have recommended for me to not add the open for work label. Can you please tell me if it's effective or not? Typical, I'm not a recruiter, disclaimer, I don't do any recruiting at this point. However, when it comes to that open for work label, there are two different labels that you can put. You can put open for work so that it shows up for everybody, and open for work so that it only shows up to people who are listed as hashtag hiring. I have found that like I never got the appeal of the overall open to work, like the big open to work where it shows up as like everybody can see that you're open to work. I heard the like initial ideas of it was that you can, you know, you're able to have your network help you and your network and kind of extend it out that way. But I never honestly really found the appeal of that. So I don't personally have really good like definitely yes or definitely no. I don't see any specific drawback of using it. I mean, outside of, you know, if you are actively at a job, like if you are currently employed and you are hashtag open to work, I would not make your open to work status public. Especially if your company does not yet know you're considering leaving. So keeping that part of it secure. But I think if you're a college student and you're looking for your first full-time opportunity, or you're looking for a summer internship with a clear start and end date, I don't see anything wrong with putting an open to work banner as long as it clearly doesn't, you know. Oh, God. Excuse me. It doesn't clearly put a bad taste in the mouth of your like current recruiter, if that makes sense. So. All right. Yeah. I also did take a nice, super quick little screenshot of a job posting description, right? So this is from my LinkedIn. You can find it right on here, right? For revamping document upload processes for like construction site updates using Visual Basic scripts and SharePoint, simplifying access to all jobs completed by the company, convert Microsoft Access databases of 30,000 building codes for 250 municipalities written in SQL to Microsoft Power Apps using Power Automate, simplifying access for all company members, and then automated COVID-19 check-in protocols for active construction site and office entries, covering 5,000 office entries and 7,500 construction entries. Now, when it comes to these policies, right, like this is a blurb that at this point I have written 4 years ago, and improving it, right, if I were to rewrite it again, here's how I would do things differently. I use the word simplifying access twice. So I'll go ahead and highlight it. I use the word simplifying access here, and I use the word simplifying access again down here. Which I'm not the biggest fan of. All right, so looking at these words simplifying access, I'd likely replace this with something else. I might even, right, if I were to rewrite this simplifying members, I might even go through and say modernizing the tool, right? So if I were to go in here and then say, even if I were to say something as simple as modernizing, right? Yeah. I submitted a challenge for using image form inventory for a set of challenge that we have to submit the link with the form asking for a screenshot. Is it fine? Yeah, if the form asking for a screenshot and you include a link that has a screenshot in it, I don't see why it wouldn't work. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit too about LinkedIn. So we talked a little bit about LinkedIn posting. We talked a little bit about all right, let me see. All right. One connected you over LinkedIn. Can you share LinkedIn URL? I don't give out my LinkedIn on stream just because of like the fact that we keep these videos recorded. So no LinkedIn on stream, unfortunately. If you would like to, hold on. If you would like to maybe consider giving me a follow on LinkedIn or a LinkedIn URL, you should be able to find me pretty easily. But make sure you put in a note that you are from Global Hack Week, because at this point I do not accept any requests. But going back to LinkedIn and stuff that I wanted to talk about, we have the LinkedIn blurbs, right? So how to write out an effective LinkedIn blurb, or almost like how to write out an effective objective statement. Activity, like writing on our experience with those bullet points. Education, volunteering, right? Skills that we specifically have honors and awards, languages, and interests, which I think are all fair things to list out on there. I do think I want to spend some time talking a little bit about writing effective blurbs, right? So, but in the meantime, I'm going to take a quick coffee break, maybe about a minute or so. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into writing some effective blurbs. I'm obsessed with this mug my mom got me. That's all. But yes, anyway, let me see. Let's check if there's any other questions in the chat anyone else has before we move on about LinkedIn stuff. Or, you know what, actually, let's transition to GitHub stuff first. So let me sign in. All right, perfect. My apologies. I wanted to add in a second authentication or a second 2FA method into my GitHub account because it was telling me that I did not have a secure 2FA method. Beautiful. All right. Will I be doing a resume review? I was not planning on it, but if you would like to, we could potentially add in a resume review. That could be fun. but I would want to make sure that we don't have any personally identifying information on it. So I would love to get like collect a form and then kind of wipe them. We might not have enough time to. Let's get through all the things that I've planned for today, and then if we've got extra time at the end, we can maybe like set up a little Google form and go do it from there. Great question though, and I love the idea. But let me go ahead and share my GitHub screen. So, welcome to my GitHub profile right on here, right? We have my little banner here, some of my professional things, right? Super quickly walking through some of the things that I do. And with a reach out. Much quicker, less professional blurb on some of the things that I do. Then we have my pinned project. These are projects I think summarize kind of well the best way what I did. Then we have my contributions, right? So things that I've done programming wise in the last year or so, what I worked on, when I worked on it, and things like that, right? So this is my 2023, my 2022, my 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, and so on and so forth, right? This is, of course, my private GitHub, right? So it's not connected to anything I do work-wise outside of MLH things. And then we have my list of projects, right? And it's really important to keep, I think, these projects especially up to date, as well as also keep all of these repositories, especially if they're public, looking pretty nice. I have a graveyard of projects, to be completely honest. Generally like listing out specific things that we do, which I think is particularly helpful. Yeah, so talking through GitHubs, generally treating GitHub as a resource, I think is particularly helpful, right? It is a part of your resume, especially if you have a more technical or more engineering background. Treating it like a part of your resume, I think is particularly helpful. Just because you have to have, so many of those things. Sorry, I just got 5 emails from GitHub about updating my authentication method because I have it registered for 3 different accounts. But generally speaking, right, when I'm talking about different GitHub accounts, I think it's really important to, oh my goodness, I'm like losing my train of thought. I probably need a minute to figure some stuff out. Let's set up that Google form resume though. Let's do that. I'm gonna make that real quick. Thank you for the idea, by the way. If I had known, I would have probably done it earlier. All right, so I have set up a nice little lovely resume review. If you would like to submit your resume, instructions for that are right in there. I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute break or so. So we are gonna be back at 3 p.m. EST. I need to just go ahead and blow my nose, use the bathroom, and get all of that squared away. In the meantime, if you would like to submit your resume for resume review, you can do that right on here. All right, everybody, see you all in a few super short minutes. So, howdy hackers. We had one super brave soul go ahead and send in their resume. I am currently double checking all of the things in here are removed. I can go ahead and share my screen super quickly. But generally, right, here we go. This is our first resume. A couple of things of immediate feedback. It's hard to tell that these are different categories. Like I can see the vision behind this here, right? Like with the projects, technical skills, and experience. But make these bigger, and the fonts, these two font styles don't match. So use a font that better complements these for these bigger headers. Expected graduation, May 2026, right? I'm assuming this is supposed to say architecture, right? Data structures, OOP, program fundamental, digital assembly programming, full stack development program, having front-end technologies and as a part of the MERN stack. Cool. Game director experience, social API development, database management, responsive design, and project implement, dynamic web-focused applications. I think this is a really great description. And then, it's really cool. Propose a new feature for The Sims 4 and wrote a feature proposal describing to other stakeholders. That's really cool. Built a class diagram and created header files and definitions for the object, path to bug-based definitions for the code by implementing improved data structure. This is great. Awesome. Projects, right? Describes all of the things worked on in October. For these projects, right, just because of how complicated they are, if these are projects that were developed over time, feel free to include that. Don't say a project is just from October if you've been working on it for a couple months now, right? A developer's tool that generates semantic vector embeddings, nice. Okay, cool. For analyzing different Reddit data, that's nice. Okay, nice. 3 people to create relocation efforts, shelter placements, nice. See, I would love to then see, like, where did this number come from? Like, my initial first question is, why does this number exist? Like, what does it look like, you know? And then API routes, nice. Recipe sharing web applications, nice. Yeah. I would probably flip these 2 bullet points. Put the second one down here and this first one up there. And then frameworks, right? These are already sitting in here. Like Node.js shows up here. Next.js shows up there. I would include React up here. Like, just based on, like, covering front-end technologies and back-end frameworks, like, based on the way that this is written out, I don't know if I would have, like, Node.js and Express show up twice here in a really short amount of time, especially since they don't seem to show up here. Like, you don't have React in your frameworks description, despite it being on your resume. Same with HTML, CSS, JS. Oh no, JS is on here, but still. Oh no, you have React. Okay. Do you have Express? Yeah, you do. Okay. I see it now. Okay. This is kind of what I meant by the skills section not being super helpful. Also, I just realized that. We should say ask questions in the chat again. But we have, right, like in here, I think these are really cool. Developer tools. I don't know if I would, like, I think these are all really great developer tools, to be fair. Like, I think this is probably one of the best technical skills sections I've seen in a really long time. Just because it focuses on skills that you actually have up here. There are some libraries which I might remove from here, like Font Awesome. But jQuery, npm, .env, I would probably consider keeping those depending on how. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
how comfortable you are with them and how your baseline understanding of them is. And yeah, thank you to our first resume. That was honestly really cool. If anyone else has one that they want to have reviewed, just go ahead and let me know. No pressure if not. We got a second one. Sweet. Okay, cool. I'm gonna download that. Nice, nice. All right, cool. So, go ahead and showcase this resume right here with different geographic insights. So I think that'll be helpful. But once again here, right, like slight differences, obviously. Oh, sorry, y'all. I dropped my MLH stickers. My apologies. Actually, here's a shout out for Ducky the Debugger Duck 2020 MLH sticker that I still have, which is super cute. But yeah, this is our second resume, right? So we have our location listed on here, our phone number. I'm trying to get comfortable again. Sorry. Our phone number, email, LinkedIn, GitHub. I really like this header. I like these little icons. I have something similar on my resume. I think it works well. It's clear and to the point. Name is nice and big. Font is good, right? Categories here are clear. I might even make these headers bold, right? Like I might make this text bold, or otherwise like add in some like underline or something to highlight these a little bit further. That's what I would do next. Underline, underline, and then underline right down here, and then underline right down here as well. All right, cool. And then we have 4 technical skills. First thing that I've noticed is I would put all of these one per tab. So you would have one tab for languages, one tab for technologies, one tab for front end, one tab for back end, one tab for databases, and one for others. So if I were to rewrite this, right, if I'm going to paste this into a Google Doc super quickly, is there's a couple of things that I'm noticing too with your spacing, right? So do C++, C, JavaScript, Python, SQL, and technologies, Git, GitHub, Postman, OpenCV. Right, front end, back end. Right, just with spacing even. APIs should be like that. Databases. Right, and then also staying consistent in how you capitalize things. So software development, PMBS, operating systems. Right, space, computer networks, and object-oriented programming. So if I were to even not change like any of the actual structuring in here, immediately what I'm thinking, right, is actually just adding this in like this. I'll show you this right now. So I'd replace that section with something that looks like this instead. Right, where you're seeing languages, technologies, right, others, just even with the spacing and the typing, already so much clearer and easier to read than what we have originally, which I think is super helpful. And then we have in here also our soft skills, right? Problem solving, communication, collaboration, adaptability, time management, and attention to detail. Kind of the same thing, right? With that UI, right? Doing either, I would probably put these in alphabetical order, right? So, and I would get rid of those A to Z, if you're planning to even include soft skills at all, which I think is, it kind of depends on the culture of places that you're applying. And for context, I'm less familiar with recruiting and how it works in India, obviously, than I am with it working in the United States. Attention to detail, right? Collaboration, communication, problem solving, and time management. So even in that one then, right, if I were to write out that second part in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again here, right, when I have the untitled document, right, something in here, right, is adaptability, attention to detail, collaboration, communication, problem solving, and time management. Just even that, I think, would make it so much more easily readable, which is really, really helpful. That's kind of the bread and butter of resumes quite often. Do share screen again. We got projects, right? HTML, CSS, GitHub.com, YouTube style product family, and we're using upload and share educational content. With each templating for dynamic format and SQL for secure and scalable data storage. User authentication, remote-based authorization systems using Node.js and OAuth 2.0. Perfect. I think this is a really great description. Developed and deployed a real-time color detection and tracking system using C++ and OpenCV, capable of identifying and tracking colors in live video streams with high accuracy. Incorporated advanced video processing algorithms. Nice. Yeah. And then built. Oh yeah. This is something I saw. I had to blur out the name of the project, so I would just put built like I'd get rid of the name of the project here entirely. Right? Delete it. Built a full stack web application allowing users to log technical participation, manage detailed project records, and showcase awards and achievements in a user-friendly interface. Integrated features for logging hackathon events, managing project details, and showcasing awards. So this sounds right? I would say more so designed and implemented a clean and intuitive user interface for seamless navigation, right? Because here you're repeating these same parts to me sound the same thing, right? These two sentences could be one sentence and they don't both need to be there. Right? I would say even this second bullet point is saying nothing new that this first bullet point isn't, right? Talk to me more specifically about what you did with the project. What do those features look like? What were the biggest challenges? Like, be more specific about what you did within that project. This may just be a US thing, but in the US, we tend to have to put the month that we're also going to graduate. So once again, might just be a US thing. But experience XYZ company, right? I'm assuming this won't say XYZ company. If it's called XY, like if the company has company in the title, it needs to be capital C. February also needs to be capital here. I would probably put the full month. I would put December 2023 to February 2024. And then, right, Python instructor intern, instructing students Python programming, covering foundational concepts, data structures, and algorithmic problem solving, building improved coding proficiency, design and structure comprehensive Python curriculum tailored for beginners, incorporating theoretical lessons, hands-on coding exercises, and real-world applications, created and led students through practical real-world Python projects, facilitating hands-on learning and application of key programming concepts. I think this makes much more sense, right? I would say maybe like created real-world Python projects for students the right to facilitate hands-on learning and applications of key programming concepts. But then also like you already have that you designed and structured the curriculum. So I would maybe in this bullet point talk about like the number of students that you have, what they look like, and things like that. Achievements, extracurriculars is one word. So extracurriculars, lowercase c space at the end. Completed 21 plus web development projects. I would potentially not include these on here. Like at the very least, I would mention at the very least, I'd mention the 3 names of the hackathons that I participated in. Explain what this is more specifically and what this is as well. And then I would also write this out as well in there, right? So talking through things, especially if you don't have any like traditional extracurricular experience, things like that are different sometimes across regions and across countries. Like there might not be such a big expectation for students to have extracurriculars in India. I don't know. But at least in the US, like they're really, really important. And so having that space for extracurricular involvement might be helpful. If you don't have any, using that space to highlight hobbies and interests or certifications and awards might also be another good option. This will be more of a regional thing though, and you'll have to probably consult with somebody that is in your area and more familiar with things there. All right, cool. We have another resume. I'm gonna go ahead and download and squeeze on over in here. Yeah, this is a Pages resume, so I'm gonna export it to a PDF. All right, I've got my next resume coming on up. All right, cool. We have our third resume ready to go. Yes, please go get some rest. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us. Let's hop into our third resume. So a couple of things about this third resume. Immediately, at least when I exported it into a PDF, it went over on the second page. So be careful with how it goes over on that second page really quickly before you do anything in there. All right, so that's what I would say. Make sure you watch out for those fonts and font sizes. That also might have been an issue with the formatting in here, right? Like you see, for example, there's like a little S missing in here, but I think that might also be from the blackout text, to be fair. But then we have, right, like LinkedIn's. The website name actually also went over onto this next link, so be careful with that too. But I like the little tabs for dividers, right? Email, phone number, LinkedIn, like I probably go email, phone number. I'd probably go phone number, email, LinkedIn, GitHub, personal portfolio in that order. The reason why is because like phone number seems the least similar to those, and I think that just encapsulates it nicely. But that's super picky. Aspiring web developer experience seeking an opportunity with a small organization or startup. This requires this challenging and rewarding web development, design, and optimization requirement. I think I would potentially, I'd say, like change this instead of aspiring web developer, change it to just web developer with experience seeking an opportunity with a small organization or startup, right? So change that to or. That provides a challenging and rewarding web development, design, and optimization environment. All right. Besides that, right, like I have conflicting opinions on problem statements, but I think this one does a decent job. We have experience as a database analyst from July 2018 to August 2019, modified and stored confidential information, scanned for more than 60 clients into the online database. Makes sense. Give unique needs and goals of modernizing the organization, determining initial evaluation, and piloting procedure for staff members. Great. Generate better transparency and efficiency of the organization and greater usability. Usability is no A. Yeah. Ooh. Usability is no A right in here. Let me strike through that. Usability, USA, is the spelling of the database, right? So one thing that your resume immediately points out to me is at this point we're in 2024 and your most recent professional experiences are from August 2019. So thinking through maybe finding an opportunity that's relevant, right? Or including something that you've done in the last 5 years. At this point would be helpful, especially with those personal like projects, right? Full administrator, referendum on a 3 tuition increase, accumulated and allocated over 1,000 ballots to students. Especially with this job experience, especially if you have job experience list from the last 5 years, I highly recommend you would. It is super helpful in here. Project, personal portfolio from July 2021 to present. Very efficient projects using HTML, JavaScript, and Python. Add them in, especially with no like work experience in the last 5 years. Talk to me about those specific projects, or build out a more complicated, more long-term project. Documented projects into one eligible verb, activity, design a portfolio, Visual Studio, and Wix.com. Yeah, especially with you using Wix, like I think sometimes Wix gets a bad rep, especially in like web development realm, for just like being a pay-to-play no-code site. So like potentially like talking about the portfolio, right? The portfolio site and what that looks like might be much more helpful. Independent study, right? Storyteller program. Yeah, like this I think makes sense, like computer science independent study. I like that. Guided design and software engineering, facilitate examination distribution and submission, exam builder project school database. Perfect, right? Your degree makes sense, right? Your degree here makes sense. And then skills, right? I would not include at this point if you're applying for technology jobs, Microsoft Office Suite. I think it is a waste of time. Where's my strike through feature? There we go. Yeah, at this point, I would not include Microsoft Office. I would not include the G Suite. I would not include LinkedIn. I would include Git over GitHub as the feature to highlight. I would just include HTML. No need to explain it. I would just include CSS, especially because you don't explain what PHP is. Same with SQL. Go Ruby, C#. Depends on how familiar you are with these languages, whether to include all these. I'm not seeing most of these in here, right? Like, where did you learn C? Where did you learn C++? Like, did you learn it in your classes? Include that in the classes section. Did you learn it like, I'm not seeing these anywhere. And I'm not liking that. So I think that's something else to consider. Awesome. All right. That's my last set of resume feedback on this one. I think I have one more that just came in, which is awesome. I am gonna take a minute for a break. Well, not a break really. We're gonna get this next one set up. But hello to the person who just came in. Oh, cool. Feel free to watch back the video once we finish the stream on here. You'll be able to watch back the VOD and then you can see all of those specific changes. Unfortunately, there isn't really a good way for me to send them over. All right, cool. I think we have a fully wiped resume right in here. So we're gonna go ahead and showcase this. We'll do that. I've been great, which is awesome. We've got a new resume to jump into. So, languages, right? Boom, 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 boom. I think, yeah, Java, JS, Python, SQL, HTML, CSS makes sense. React and Angular Vue, yep. Node.js. I don't know how I feel about describing, sorry, I gotta undo that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about describing JSON and as a backend technology. Neither about REST, but databases, MySQL, MongoDB, SQL Server. For context, I'm not the biggest expert on front-end dev, so I don't know how, but my brain doesn't associate REST with backend tech. And then tools and frameworks, Git, Jira, Docker, Jenkins, SonarQube, VS Code, makes sense. Competencies, OOD, test-driven development, agile development. Got a bunch of buzzwords on here. Honestly, it works. I would potentially, especially, restructure this, right? I've got this whole skills section already, right? And then the first thing I see is you talk about knowing Flutter from React Native. And my initial thought is, when's the last time you updated this skills section? But granted, if I had more time to think about it, I'd give you the benefit of the doubt, considering that project that you're showing is only 2 months old, I think. No, we're in October. We're in November now, and that's August. So that's 4 months ago, almost. 3-4 months ago. Yeah, I'd expect that to be, especially considering you are a full stack engineer at this point. Nah, I'd expect you to have Flutter, Float, and React Native up in your skills section, even if it's right at the very end. How did you get development time being cut by 25% and scalability increasing by 30%? My initial thought is where did those numbers come from? They sound impressive, but what do they mean? Right, this is a number that makes much more sense. Enabling dynamic front-end interactions to scale back capacity to handle a 40% increase in data load efficiency. This makes it seem like, oh, we had more info than we needed, right? Now we made a better API, so now we can handle that. Easy, much more helpful. Yes, once I finish reviewing this resume, we'll go ahead and wrap up and talk a little bit about upcoming streams and stuff. So we'll go through that in a second. I'm also gonna go ahead and remove the form, considering I already did. Oh yes, thank you. Fellowship jacket. Gotta rock the MLH merch. But yeah, going back this, I think this makes sense. Java-based sales order app. Lowercase sales, I think. Using the library for portlet development maintenance. Yeah. DAU is perfect. Improve the order creation workflow by implementing lazy loading and quick splitting. Reduce the initial page load times by 50%. And reducing order process time from 1 minute to 250 milliseconds per order. That is helpful. That these numbers are helpful. Collaborate with product design teams to optimize the order creation process, reducing processing time by 40%, increasing order accuracy by 25%. Perfect. Refactor and debug legacy code, resolving performance bottlenecks, and reducing progression rates by 75%. Perfect. All right, and then associate software engineer, company name, city, state, automated build, and right, Jenkins pipeline and SonarQube, enhancing call quality. Perfect. 60 Jira tickets monthly, code reviews and kit merges. About introducing. Yep. All right. I have software engineering intern. And integration testing for hybrid mobile apps. 10 to 0. detailed technical implementation development workflows. Perfect. Yeah, Master of Science in Computer Science, May 2024, right courses, special recognitions that you've taken. And then you also did a Master's in Computer Applications and a BS in CS. I would include that honor, that special recognition under the awards here. And then any like certificates, like certifications that you actually have also in there. But this is a very solid, like mid-level experience resume, which is awesome. Oh yes, well thank you. I got my fellowship jacket at HackCon this year, so they had an extra one in my size, which is awesome. All right, I've officially shut down the Google form, and we have about 20 minutes left on stream. I did have a question saying that there might be some issues with the schedule. So I am going to take a second and showcase the schedule on here, just in case. Schedule. We're going to present and share my screen. What happened to my MLH Coach t-shirt? I was at an event this weekend, and I was at an event this weekend, and I only have 3 shirts, one for Friday, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. I have no clean shirts left, so we're here rocking the fellowship jacket, since what I have left. Let me share my screen and showcase this lovely schedule. Yeah, so here is the schedule. Upcoming, we do not have any streams until 8 p.m. So this is in Central Time in the US, which is 1 hour behind Eastern Time. So I'm just going to talk about Eastern Time. We have a mini event, right? Scriblio coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we have Data Visualizations Part 1 with Steven coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Then Solving Algorithms at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Scriblio at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Making Better Hacks Faster with GitHub Copilot at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And Data Visualizations Part 2 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You're good. We're rocking the jacket. We're good. And then we have, right, today in Global Hack Week, Day 5. And then more upcoming cool projects in here, which is very fun, right? Like Intro to Machine Learning's Part 1, 2, and 3. We're going to crank out 3 parts of Intro to Machine Learning on the last day of Global Hack Week, y'all. That's going to be a really fun one for them. All right, let's see. Yes, happy to share the schedule. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to talk about before we're done for the stream. I'm going to share my resume template from the last stream. Again, in the chat, for anyone who is interested in the most updated resume template from my recommendation. Yes, the form is closed because we don't have enough time to wrap up another resume review, right? Because we only have 19 or so minutes. Yes, please go to sleep if it's 2:10 a.m. Good night. See y'all in the next one. Go sleep. But if you would like a copy to a resume template that we made in part 1 of the stream, go ahead and head on over to the GHW entry-level resume. This is a Google Slide template that should pretty easily export out into a PDF. And it will showcase kind of what you want your resume to potentially look like. If I can finally share my screen. Nice. There we go. Okay, hold on. My headphones are no longer working, but I am pretty sure anyway.
So let's try this again. Can everyone hear me? I did take a look at it at the start of the last stream. Thank you, Albinal. Good night. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's super cool. Starting like graduate degrees are always exciting, so I'm hyped for you. Awesome. Okay, great. We can hear me. Beautiful. Anyway, here is one of the entry-level resume templates that we made on this stream. And then I have another one. This is the one from my Global Hag Week stream in 2023, actually. But I think y'all would also appreciate it. This is an overleaf template, so it's written out in LaTeX. And this is Meadowbrook University and Eleanor Swift's resume. We also built out a portfolio website for her for Global Hack Week Career, I'm pretty sure. And that was super fun. So, right, talked through, right, some of the things that she did, right. We wrote out what I thought was a pretty, not an insane, but a common junior in college resume or sophomore in college resume based on feedback that we had there. So she had done like one internship the summer prior at like a local company, and then had tutored at a local high school, and then also had worked on a portfolio website, did a cute little smart home automation project, helped organize hackathons, and developed for a web club, and did some STEM research volunteer stuff. So this is another really great resume template. In general, if you look up lots of different super cool resume templates, you'll find lots of really, really helpful stuff out there, which is awesome. Alrighty, my friends. I don't know if I have anything else that I really want to talk about today. We had a super productive stream, and I'm so happy for those of y'all who joined. Very, very excited to hang out with y'all. But on that note, yes, you feel free to head out. I am going to stay on for a few more minutes, just in case anyone else would like to ask any last minute questions. But once we're done with that, I think it'll be time to head off for everybody. So I'm going to put on our thank you for watching banner, drink up a little bit of my coffee, and end the stream in a few short minutes. Oh. Haha, nice. Yeah. I'm just seeing mostly lots of loves and thank yous in the chat, which makes me happy. So awesome. But let's see here. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything in specific that I want to say, so I think I'm going to let y'all go early. Give you back about 10 minutes. But thank y'all so much for coming. This was a really fun one. It was great to hang out with y'all. And as always, see you in the next one. You won't see me at this Global Hack Week, but you'll see me at Data. So, bye, friends.